Presentation, I'll discuss how to build your course schedule. This presentation is mainly directed towards upper division students. So that means that you need to have earned 60 units or above to be considered upper division students. So essentially, if you're a transfer student, new or continuing, or students who have junior or senior standing, then this is the presentation that's directed towards you, okay, and building your course schedule. Let me just first say that the information that I'm going to discuss in this presentation is just a guide to creating your course schedules. Obviously, everybody's going to have specific circumstances that will affect your own schedule, but this is kind of a useful way to think about what courses you'll need to take and when to take them during your last 2 years at San Jose State. Okay? You can see additional information on our psych website. We'll talk about the Bachelor of Arts degree requirements specifically. And as always, if you have additional questions or you need further guidance, then please come see one of the psychology major advisors. Okay? So again, in this presentation, I'm assuming that you're a transfer student or a current San Jose State student with either junior or senior standing. So as I said earlier, you have to have already earned 60 units or higher. Okay? I'm also going to assume that you've completed all of your lower division GE course requirements. So those are the areas A through F, the lower division GE core requirements. Okay, so let me first start off with this figure here. What this figure is showing you is a visual representation of the 2-year roadmap to complete your Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology. So I know there's a lot of information here. Again, what you can do is just pause the video if you want to go through it in more detail. We also have it available for you to download on our psych website. But I'm going to use this figure to guide us through the process of determining a course schedule for you. Okay? Now, just quickly here on the left-hand side, sort of a timeline that gives you guidance about what you should be doing in each of the semesters in your junior and senior years. Okay. Here at the top, we have the lower division major requirements. In this area here, we have the upper division psychology courses that are required for all psych majors. Okay. So let me just kind of go back and also tell you that these red arrows mean that the course above is a prerequisite for the course on the bottom, right? So you have to have completed Bio 21 or 65 to enroll in Psych 30. So you have to have completed Intro to Psych and Stat 95 in order to complete Psych 18. All right, so that's how you should interpret the red arrows. So getting back to this area, one of the upper division classes required for all psych majors is 100W. Okay, so you're going to be taking 100W first before you can enroll in Psych 118. And then you need to have completed both 100W and 118 to enroll in your senior capstone course. Okay? So those are the 3 required upper division psychology courses. In this area, we have our upper division psychology classes as well, but you can take these courses in any semester just as long as you've met the prerequisites for the courses. So for instance, in these boxes here, the only prerequisite to take most of those courses is completion of Psych 1. Okay. The only exception to that is our neuroscience class, Psych 129. for 129, you have to have completed Psych 1 and Psych 30, which is the psychobiology course, and 3 units of biology, which for most psych majors will be Bio 21 or 65. Okay, so Psych 129 neuroscience has additional prerequisites. Okay? In this box is the upper division assessment classes. The prerequisite to take those courses is Stat 95. And then down here, the last box are your psychology electives. So all psych majors are required to complete 3 electives in psychology. I've put together another video presentation going over the Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology in much more detail. So if you want to know about psychology electives in more detail, please consult that presentation because there's a lot to learn about these psychology electives, okay? But for right now, the main thing you need to know is that you need to complete 3 electives within psychology. Okay, so that takes care of the psychology major requirements. In this last box here on the right, these are additional university requirements that you need to complete in order to earn your bachelor's degree. So I'll talk about those later on in the presentation. Okay. So let's talk now specifically about how to put together your course schedule each semester. All right, the first step is to determine what requirements you are still missing or you have to still complete in order to fulfill graduation requirements. So the way to do that is to generate a My Progress report on your academics page on My SJSU. So hopefully by now most of you are juniors and seniors. You've been in San Jose State for a while. You should be familiar with the My Progress report. If not, or you have not used it yet, I've included a tutorial here so that you can learn how to use the My Progress report. It's a very important tool to use because that's how you can keep track of all of your completed requirements and the requirements that you still have to complete. Okay. Once you've generated the My Progress report, you want to click on the box that says Expand All. That way you can see all of the specific graduation requirements in your report. Okay. Now, the first step after you've generated the My Progress report is to make a list of all of the important information and requirements that are marked in red on your My Progress report. So the requirements that are marked in red indicate that you still have not completed those requirements. So it's very helpful to write a list of all of those missing requirements because then from that list it'll help you to plan your course schedules and it will help you to know how many courses you still need to complete and what those courses are. Okay, so these are the things that I think are most relevant to list. So the first thing to do is to note how many units you have taken and how many units you still need. Okay, so the minimum unit requirement to graduate from San Jose State is 120. So you want to note how many units you have already completed and how many units you still need to reach the 120. Okay, so let's just say, for example, that you have completed 90 units and you still need 30 units to reach the 120. So one thing that you can do is divide your units that you need by 3, and that will give you an estimate of how many classes you still need to complete. So if you still need 30 units, you divide that by 3. That is 10 courses that you still need to take in order for you to reach the 120. Okay. In addition to the unit requirement, you should also note any missing lower division GE requirement. So those are the core GE areas, areas A through F. Anything missing there, write it down. Okay. You'll also need to complete upper division GE requirements. Those are the SJSU studies courses. You need to take one course from each of the areas. So there are 3 areas, R, S, and V. You need to take one class from each area. Then you have the American institutions requirement, the physical education requirement, your major requirements, right? So that's what we help you with here in the psychology department, are guiding you and helping you with your major requirements. And then if you're completing a minor, which is optional, any requirements that are relevant to your minor that you're missing, you should also list those. Okay. So again, I know that my progress report already has all of those indicated, but it's also very helpful to have a hard copy or another report that's very handy for you to use as a guide when you're planning your class schedules. All right, so now that you've done your My Progress report, you've made a list of all of your requirements, let's talk first about those lower division psychology requirements. All right, so basically you just want to ask yourself, have you completed all of them, right? Have you completed Psych 1? If not, well, then that's what you need to register for in your first semester. Have you completed Stat 95? If not, then register for it in your first semester. This is the one that many students may not have completed yet, and that is our human biology or human anatomy course with a lab. So in San Jose State, that's either biology 21 or biology 65 with a lab. Okay, if you've taken other biology courses that are not human biology or human anatomy, or if you have not had a lab with your biology course, then you have not yet fulfilled that requirement. Okay, it should indicate on your My Progress report if you've completed it or not. If you have not completed it, it will be red. Okay, so if you haven't completed this requirement, then that's a priority in your first semester as a junior or as a transfer student. Okay, if you have completed the biology course, then you want to complete Psych 30 if you have not yet completed it. Okay, and then the final lower division psychology requirement is the Introduction to Research Methods course, which is Psych 18. So if you haven't completed Psych 18, then you need to take that in your first semester as a junior or as a transfer student. Okay, so that's step 2. Take care of all of your lower division psychology requirements. Okay, now the next thing I need to talk to you about is our upper division required psychology classes. Okay, the first required course that you should take in your junior year, ideally in the first semester of your junior year or your first semester as a transfer student, is 100W, or our writing workshop. So there are a couple of things I need to tell you about the 100W. Okay, again, this is a course that is required for all psychology majors. So you need to first determine whether you're ready to enroll in it or not. Okay, so to enroll in Psych 100W, you have to first complete Psych 1, Stat 95, and Psych 18. So if you have not yet completed those lower division prerequisites, again, that's a priority. You have to complete these before you can enroll in 100W. Okay? Also, the university will not let you enroll in 100W until you have completed the WST self-directed placement test. All right, so here's a link to that placement test. You have to complete it. I think they ask you to upload a writing sample. In at a week or so, they should let you know if you're ready to enroll directly in 100W, or if you need to take a support course beforehand. Okay, so again, ideally you want to take 100W in your first semester as a transfer student or your first semester in your junior year. Taking it in your second semester will also work, but taking it in your third semester is not really ideal. And that's because 100W is a prerequisite for the other required upper division psychology classes that I'll talk about later. Okay. So if you're ready to take 100W, that's a priority. If you're not ready to take it yet, based on, maybe you haven't fulfilled the prerequisites, or maybe you need to improve your writing skills, then in your first semester, you should enroll in either English or LLD 100A. Okay? LLD 100A is geared towards English as a second language students. So if English is not your native language and you need further support, then LLD 100 is the course that you should take. If you are an English speaker or you feel like you don't need the additional support, then you should enroll in English 100A. Okay? So if you're not ready yet, you're going to do the 100A, and then the next semester you'll do the 100W. Okay. Otherwise, in your first semester as a transfer student or as a junior, then ideally you would want to take 100W. All right, so now that I've talked about 100W, let's jump over to the next area here. As I said before, these are our other required upper division psychology courses. You have more flexibility in when you take these other courses. Okay, so let me just kind of give you some priorities to help guide your schedule. Okay, so in your first semester as a transfer student or as your first semester as a junior, then what we suggest is you consider taking 2 to 3 psychology courses from this list. Okay, so either take Psych 139 or 154, Psych of Childhood, Adolescence, or Aging, or Adult or Child Psychopathology. Okay, so the reason that we suggest these classes is because if we go back to the figure here, right? These are the classes in the first 3, what we call bins of our upper division required classes. So 1 in developmental, 1 in psychopathology, and 1 in social or personality. Okay, so in your first semester as a transfer student or your first semester with junior standing, these are the classes that we suggest that you choose from. The reason for that is because the only prerequisite for those courses is Psych 1, and they're made up of mainly the broad general survey types of courses. It'll sort of ease you into our upper division coursework. Now, always consult with the course catalog. I provided you a link here for you to use. It will give you kind of a general description of all of the courses that we offer in the psychology department. We also have on our psychology website course syllabi. So you can also go to past syllabi of the courses so you can see what kinds of assignments are required, what the course schedules have been like, etc. So you can do a little bit of research for yourselves to see, which of the courses you would be most interested in, or, what courses have a workload that you think you can handle. Okay, so consult the course catalog and also look at the past syllabi. That's very helpful in making your decisions about what courses to take. All right, so just as a review, okay, so now I'm just speaking specifically about your first semester at San Jose State as a new transfer student or if it's your first semester with upper division standing, then these should be your scheduling priorities. Okay, so first of all, you want to make sure that you've taken care of all of the lower division psychology classes if you haven't already completed them. Another priority would be if you still have missing lower division GE and or American institutions courses that you still need to complete, then you should do those as soon as possible. All right, so again, you know, the priority is let's just complete all of the lower division courses that you're missing as soon as possible. Okay? Another priority would be the 100W, the writing workshop. So make sure that you've completed the prerequisites. That's why you want to take care of those, because you can't enroll in 100W unless you complete the lower division psychology courses. And you also need to take that self-directed assessment test. All right. Again, the university will not allow you to enroll in 100W if you have not met the prerequisites and or if you haven't done the self-directed assessment test. Okay. And then the fourth priority in your first semester as a junior or as a new transfer student is to pick courses from those required bins, upper division bins, either from social personality, developmental, and or psychopathology. Okay, so you can consult the green boxes in the figure in the roadmap or look at the prior slide to see what those courses are. Okay. All right, now let's say that you're completed with your first semester as a transfer student, or you're a senior, you've completed everything that I have talked about before. Now what do you need to consider? Okay, well, the next things you need to determine are these. Okay, so if you have already completed your 100W, a priority for you now is to complete your advanced research methods class. Okay, so as soon as you've completed 100W, you want to enroll in Psych 118. So again, that is a required course for all psychology majors. The prerequisite for Psych 118 is 100W. Okay, so that's the first priority. Then you need to start thinking about your psychology electives. So as I said before, all psychology majors are required to complete 3 psychology electives. So psychology electives are courses that do not fulfill other major requirements. Okay, so again, I've talked about this in a prior presentation that I've made talking about the Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology, and to give you an overview of that. But here, just very quickly, a psychology elective is any psychology course that you did not use to fulfill other major requirements. So let's go back to the figure here and I'll show you what I mean. So let's just say in the developmental box here, you decided to take Psych 102 to fulfill this requirement. Well, you could use Psych 112 and or Psych 114 as a psychology elective, right? Because you've used childhood to get rid of this requirement, so the other 2 courses in that bin can function as an elective. Okay, so the same thing here. Let's just say you took 142, child psychopathology, to fulfill this requirement, the psychopathology requirement. Then you can use Psych 110 as a psychology elective. Okay, so just as long as you haven't used the course to fulfill these specific requirements, you can use those courses as electives. Okay, now we offer many more psychology classes than what is listed here in the green boxes. So you can use any other psychology course that's not listed here also to fulfill an elective requirement. Okay, so the main point here is all psych majors have to complete 3 electives in psychology. So just make sure you do 3. One of the classes can be a lower division class. So if you've taken a psych course at a community college that did not fulfill a lower division requirement up here, you could use it as a psych elective, but then the remaining 2 courses have to be upper division. Okay, if you did not go to a community college and take a psychology course, then all of your psych electives can be upper division. Okay. All right, so just know that you have to complete a total of 3 psych electives to fulfill that requirement. Okay? You can also start looking at the other green boxes in that upper division required coursework. So you have to complete 2 courses from either cognitive psychology, learning or perception, and neuroscience. So again, make sure that you fulfill all of the prerequisites, especially for neuroscience, if you're interested in taking that course. Otherwise, for these 3 classes, 135, 155, 158, the only prerequisite is Psych 1. Okay, so you have to complete 2 classes from these classes. You have to do an upper division assessment class. So either Psych 117 or Stat 115. Again, on the roadmap, remember that the prerequisite for these upper division assessment classes is Stat 95. And then after you've completed 118, which is the Advanced Research Methods class, and you have senior standing, that's when you'll take your capstone course. For most students, it will be Psych 190. If you are taking the honors track, then it will be 195. Okay, most students take 190. So that's the 3rd required upper division course for our psych majors. So remember, first take 100W, then 118, and then 190. Okay, those are the 3 required classes. All of the other upper division coursework in psychology, you have flexibility of when you take those. Just make sure that you fulfill each of those requirements to earn your degree. All right, and then finally, now that we've discussed all of the psychology major requirements, the last thing you have to consider in completing your graduation requirements are the university requirements. So I'll talk about those next. Those university requirements are in this last area here on the roadmap. All right, so in addition to all of your psychology major requirements, you have to also make sure you complete the university requirements. So in the first gray box on the roadmap, we've listed SJSU studies. Okay, SJSU studies are the upper division GE courses. Okay, so once you've completed the lower division GE courses, right, areas A through F, then you can enroll in the SJSU studies courses. So you have to complete one course in each of the 3 areas. So one course in area R, one in area S, and one in area V. Now I want to point out one psychology course that is in area S of SJSU studies. That is the Psychology of Prejudice course. That's Psych 191. Most psych majors take Psych 191 because not only does it fulfill area S of SJSU studies, but you can also use it to count towards one of your psychology electives. So that one class will fulfill 2 requirements, right? Area S and a psychology elective. Okay, so make sure to note that because it's not only is it a very interesting class, but it can also help you to complete 2 requirements. Okay, and then the last area is area V. Okay, so make sure that you complete the SJSU studies requirement. Now, for some students, you might need to take university electives. Okay, so a university elective basically are generic units that you need to reach the minimum graduation requirement of 120 units. Okay, so if you fulfill all of your GE requirements, upper and lower division, you fulfill all the psychology major requirements, and you still have not reached the 120 units that you're required to graduate, then you might just fill in your schedule with free electives. So they can be any class that we offer at San Jose State. You can take more psychology courses if you want to, but these university electives are just there in order for you to reach the minimum of 120. So every student is going to be different. Some students might need many electives. Other students may not need any at all. Okay, so that's why it's important to keep track on your My Progress of how many units you've completed and how many units you still have to take, right, to reach the 120. So if you need electives, then you can choose whatever course that we offer in San Jose State to complete those unit requirements. PE, right? So everybody has to complete 2 units of PE. Many students take this at community college, or you've completed it at your community college, but please make sure you do complete it. Everybody has to do 2 units of PE. Your American Institutions requirement. So if you haven't completed that yet, and please make sure you prioritize that in building out your schedule. Okay, and then finally, for students who do have a minor, if you're pursuing a minor outside of psychology, then make sure you note what those requirements are, what is missing from your minor requirements, and make sure to complete those as well. Again, if you're a psych major, you are not required to have a minor, but if you have many electives units that you need to complete, say if you have at least 15 units that are free, right, in order to reach the 120 units, you might consider doing a minor. Most minors at San Jose State are between 15 to some minors are 21 units, depending on what it is. So you could also explore a possible minor if that's what you may be interested in. Okay, so for those of you who are beyond your first semester of your junior year, or if you are in your senior year or approaching it, these are other considerations that you need to think about in building your course schedules. Now, what I'm showing you here is a 2-year planner that we have available on the Psychology Advising website. So again, every student is different, but we like to give you guys some suggestions about how to put together your course schedules as a guide. Okay, so this is a sample planner for students who are ready to take 100W in their first semester as a junior, or your first semester as a transfer student. So this kind of gives you an idea of possible course schedules that you can put together. Okay, again, it's available on our advising website. You can download them there. Here's another example of a 2-year planner for students who are not quite ready to take 100W in their first semester, and you need to enroll in either English 100A or LLD 100A in your first semester, and then it guides you as to possible ways to put together your class schedules after that. All right, so basically that's my general advice for how to go about putting together and thinking about your class schedules as an upper division uh, student. Again, you can download all of the roadmaps that I've showed you and the sample schedules from our advising page. So you can go there for additional information. But before I go, I'd like to just leave you guys with some general advice that I tell all students. So the first uh, advice is that you need to be proactive, okay? So, make sure that you are taking responsibility for your own academic progress, right? So how do you be proactive? Well, first of all, be familiar with the psychology major requirements. So all of the major requirements are on our advising page. I talk about the requirements here. I've talked about them in other presentations available on the psych website. There's an overview of the BA in psychology. There's a talk about graduation requirements. So just be familiar with all of the requirements you need to complete in order to earn your degree in psychology. Okay. Another way to be proactive is to generate a My Progress report. Okay, generate a My Progress report. You want to do that at least once a semester. Make a list of all of the requirements that you still have to complete. All right, the ones that are marked in red, because those are the ones that will guide you in making your class schedules, and it can also help you to estimate, how many semesters you have left until you graduate, what courses that you need to take, and in what order. Okay. Another way to be responsible in planning your academic progress is to please think realistically about your other responsibilities and how you're going to balance those responsibilities in addition to your student responsibilities. So think about your work schedule, your family and personal obligations in planning your class schedules. Okay? If your work responsibilities are your priority, or if your employer is not flexible in helping you to meet your school responsibilities, then you need to really take those things into consideration. Okay. Also, I'm going to emphasize this point again with regards to the 3 required upper division psychology classes. We encourage students to first take 100W, then 118, and then your capstone course. So please take those required classes in that order and in separate semesters. Okay, so in one semester would be 100W, in the next semester 118, and then in the following semester your capstone class. Okay, we do that just because of the workload in each of those courses tends to be a little bit heavier than in your other coursework, and also each course builds on knowledge that you get in a previous course. So the knowledge that you'll need to be successful in your advanced research methods class will be dependent on what you learn in 100W. Okay, so if possible, please do it in separate semesters. I know that's not always possible, but that is our general advice to our psychology majors. And then finally, another way to be proactive in your academic success is to contact a general academic advisor. You can find the general advisors in the College of Social Science Student Success Center. Okay, so I've included a link here where you can find out what kinds of resources are available to you, and also how to make an appointment with a general academic advisor if you have questions about GE, transfer credits, or if there are things on your My Progress report that you believe are errors or you're not really sure about. then you should contact an advisor in the Success Center. Again, you know, here in the psychology department, we do have advisors to help with your questions regarding psychology requirements or psychology courses. So here is a list of all of the psychology advisors who do advising in the regular academic year, right? So Dr. Chancellor Freeland, Dr. Hosoda, Dr. Van Zelst, and myself, I'm Dr. Asuncion. There are 3 ways to get advising in our department. So first of all, what you want to do is go to our advising page. Our advising hours will change every semester. So to get our latest availability, you need to go to our advising page. You can email any advising questions you may have to the advising email address here. Okay, if you want to contact a specific advisor, then please put their name in the subject line along with the topic of your email. So for instance, if you want to talk to Dr. Van Zelst about, you know, confirming your course schedule, then please put that in the subject line, and then Dr. Van Zelst or the advisor that you directed your email to will reply as soon as they can. The best way to contact an advisor is to schedule an online or in-person appointment. To do that, again, go to the advising website, scroll down, and you'll use the links by our name to make either an online or an in-person appointment. All of the links will take you to Spartan Connect. Our appointments are made through Spartan Connect. So if you're not familiar with how to do that, here's a tutorial that will guide you through that process. When you schedule an appointment with one of us, please put in the contact box, or I'm sorry, in the comments box, the reason for your appointment. Okay, so say for instance that you want to make an appointment with me, Dr. Asuncion. In the comments box, you would put something like, I'd like to talk to Dr. Asuncion about confirming my course schedule. The reason we ask you to put the reason for your appointment in the comments box is because it helps us to know what kinds of information that you'll be needing or what kinds of resources we can provide to you when we meet for your appointment. So that's a really helpful thing for the advisors to know why you're making the appointment. Okay. And then the third way to get advising is to drop in during our online or our in-person drop-in hours. Again, you'll see those drop-in hours on the psychology advising page. The only thing that we'd like you to know is that there may be some times when we are not able to meet with every student who drops in. And that's because, you know, there are certain times of the semester when many students drop in at the same time. So if you'd really like to guarantee that you speak to an advisor, the best way is to schedule an appointment. Okay. So hopefully this has been helpful to you in helping guide you to plan your course schedules every semester. We are here for you, the advisors are, to, you know, answer any questions that you might have, or if you just like to confirm whether your schedule is a good one or it's a doable one, then please contact one of us and we can help you with that. Have a nice day, everybody.